All right, so it is 11 o'clock. I think we're going to get started. First 5 minutes of this webinar are going to be a kind of filter in period for people who are going to be joining us a bit later. So with that said, hello there. My name is Quentin Russell, and I am the content marketing specialist here at Doc365. And today I want to present to you the last SharePoint Basics series of 2020. This week we will be talking about hub sites. Now, don't worry, we will be doing the SharePoint Basics series again in 2021. We're just going to take a brief break for the end of the year. We'll have one more webinar that won't be about SharePoint, but I'll talk about that in a bit. But we're just going to take a quick break for that last week of the year, recuperate, spend time with our families and everything. So with that said, what are we talking about today? Well, first of all, looking over to what we're going to be talking about today in our talk about on hub sites and everything, we're going to be looking at what hub sites are. We're going to go over different use cases for hub sites. So when you might specifically want to use them and what to use them for. Then we're going to go into how to set up hub sites. So the process that you need to do for that. I will be going into a live SharePoint environment where I will show you how to do everything related to that. I'll also show you some advanced cases of hub site usage and what that can kind of look like. After that, we'll be doing, I'll be going over a couple of different tips that you can use for building hub sites. And then finally, we'll do a Q&A session at the end. How that will work is that I invite anyone who has questions to please post them in the chat. As you do, as those pile up and everything, I will review those during the Q&A session and do my best to answer them. If there's anything I can't answer during that Q&A session, I will make sure to do the research and send you a detailed answer after the fact in the follow-up email, as you will all be receiving the recording of today's webinar for free in your inbox. Also, during that Q&A session, if anyone has any questions that they don't want to type or anything, or they want, or they have something that they feel that they can't type out, feel free to unmute yourselves and ask me questions during that time. Again, please wait until that Q&A session, however. And like I said, if you have questions, feel free to post them in the chat all throughout the webinar. With that said, who are we? So we're Doc365. We're a company located in Jacksonville, Florida. We have over 17 years of experience working with SharePoint to deliver exceptional productivity solutions. We work with a wide range of companies in a variety of industries to implement a diverse array of SharePoint productivity tools. So we do internet portals, contract management systems, CRM solutions, and we've also recently launched a safety and quality management system. If you have more questions about that, feel free to reach out to us later on. Our email is info@mydoc365.com. So what does that mean? Well, our mission is to break down silos and build stronger employee engagement across your organization. What does that kind of mean? Well, it's fancy buzzword speak for we want to stop the segmentation of information. That's, we want to stop information from getting lost at different points in your company. And we want to provide you tools that can allow you to bring all of that together and create a unified, powerful workforce that can allow you to do what you want to do, but better. We want to provide you with the tools and strategies that can really help you just cut down on a lot of the busy work and really get to the part of your business that matters, which is, the actual profitable bits that contribute to your bottom line. And so with that said, talking about our upcoming webinar for next week. So next week with our last webinar of the year, we'll be talking about 7 reasons to adopt a document management system in 2021. We hope that you come out for that. We'll be going over 7 concrete, definable, tangible benefits that you really can't afford not to pay attention to. Especially if you're using your document, if you're not really storing your documents in any centralized location, if you don't have a unified system for that, you're probably going to be missing out. And that's why you should definitely think about adopting a document management system. However, we'll be covering that next week. We'll be doing a deep dive on that then. If you want to sign up, make sure to head on over to our website, mydoc365.com. Head on over to our webinars page. You should be able to sign up. It's completely free. And just like with this webinar, if you can't attend during the live showing of the webinar, we will send you a recording after the fact. That's all of the advertisement / who we are and everything out of the way. So let's get to why you guys are here. What are hub sites in SharePoint Online? So basically, a hub site is a central site in SharePoint Online that makes navigating and managing all of the sites that are connected to it much easier. Well, that's a very high level overview look at it, very basic. So what are the actual mechanics of it? What, how does it work? Well, essentially a hub site is either a team site or a communication site that you've created within SharePoint Online that you've then gone into the SharePoint Admin Center and registered as a hub site. Basically, they're focused on providing a way to make navigation easier for all of the sites that are associated and connected to said hub site. Essentially, think of it as an umbrella for everything that is connected to it. So basically, rather than previously, a lot of the way that this was done is that you would build subsites. So you'd have your main site, and then you'd have various subsites underneath that as kind of like a tree-looking thing. However, in recent years, Microsoft has been moving away from that. They really don't want you to have tall infrastructure. They want you to have flat infrastructure. But we'll talk about that in a bit when I go a bit more in depth on the difference between the two. But basically, the way to think of hub sites is that they're essentially they're containers where you put all of the associated sites and site collections, and they're essentially kind of just clumped together. So what exactly makes a hub site a hub site? So what happens once you've registered a communication site or a team site as a hub site? Well, first of all, you'll gain access to common navigation. So all of the sites that are associated with that hub site will then share the same navigation bar that you can that you build within the hub site itself. Additionally, you'll gain access to you already have access to the news web part. However, when you use the news web part on a hub site, it'll actually collect and aggregate all of the news posts and everything from the sites associated with the hub site onto that main page. So say you have 3 separate sites. One of them is your hub site, one of them is a team site, one of them is a communication site. If you create a news post on the communication site and the team site, both will show in the news web part on that hub site. Additionally, the search function on a hub site and all sites in that hub site works a bit differently. Essentially, you're not searching within SharePoint as a whole. You're searching within that specific hub and all of the sites associated with it. So it really allows you to narrow the scope of what you're searching for, and it allows you to very easily kind of keep things organized without having everything kind of mishmashed together within your SharePoint tenant. Additionally, there's all of the hub sites will share a common theme. So essentially everything, the way you customize the hub site, so with the header, any sort of like pictures that you use, any sort of really anything that you use will have, any way you customize the appearance of the hub page, it will then apply to all of the sites that are connected to that hub site. And then this is basically, it's a kind of unified theme and everything. So if you're using it as if you're using a hub site and a hub as like a departmental portal, you can have that be, so you have the colors for the marketing department, you have the colors for the sales department, you have the colors for the engineering department, et cetera, et cetera. Or if you're using it for in the rare instance of different companies or anything, like if you're one owner, multiple smaller companies, you can definitely set that up. So each, site collection, each hub has the branding of the individual companies with it that you're, creating hub sites for. Finally, there's the content rollup. So whenever you use the highlighted content web part in SharePoint in a hub site, it'll actually pull like much like with the news web part, it'll pull content from all over the connected hub sites. So essentially, like again, you create a document in a team site and a communications site. Those documents will show up within the hub site. So really going over the difference between hub sites and subsites. Basically, subsites are an older concept that Microsoft has been moving away from. They would just be essentially like, so think about it like thinking about it in like URL terms and everything. So subsite is essentially like, okay, so we have, it's essentially, it's not quite pages because it's a bit higher than that because it still has full site functionality. But they're essentially kind of pages on a website, or for instance, like say you're going to a like for instance, Doc's website. So we have mydoc365.com, and that is our main site and everything. And then if you go to our blog page, that takes you to blog.mydoc365.com. That is technically a subsite, where essentially it has its own functionality, it has its own design and theming that's different from the main site. However, it is still underneath that site and everything. And so there's connections and associations, and it's basically just tall infrastructure. However, hub sites are distinct sites. So it's basically like, if our blog were on a completely different website or something, or it's like the way that Google does its different sorts of like, you have docs, like you have Google Docs, you have Google, Team Drive, you have all of those different types of sites where they're essentially distinct sites that are all connected to the Google name. And that's kind of how that works. It's that flat infrastructure, individual sites, but everything is connected to the one. And there's one sort of central site that connects all of that information together and makes it so you can navigate from point A to B. So basically, think of it as there's a bunch of, so think of it as like 0.0, and then everything comes back to 0.0. So it's kind of like a web as opposed to a very, like a tower. So when should you be using hub sites? Well, you should generally just be using them in general. But I mean, smaller businesses can kind of get away with not using them as much. But like for smaller businesses, you can really use that. You can use one hub site for the whole organization, kind of like an intranet homepage. And then you can use that to link, you can create different sites for your different departments or different purposes. So essentially like have all of your organization exist kind of within that one single hub. Meanwhile, for like medium to larger businesses that kind of need more of more organization, they have a more strict department, breakdown and everything. What you would do is you would create different hub sites for each department, and then they would all link back to a singular page. So something like, like a main intranet homepage that then links out to different individual hub sites. I actually have an example of that I will be showing you later on. And then another way that you can use it is you can use it for project management. So you can essentially create a single project hub that is the storage point, that is kind of the launch on point for any projects that you may be working on. And then you can create different project sites for each project that then link back to that main hub page. Basically, you want to use a hub site whenever you have different sorts of when you have a unified goal or purpose or unified group almost. And then you have a bunch of different smaller subcategories of that you need to, but they still need to be organized and linked back to that main goal, group, or purpose. So getting on to the more practical demonstration, what you guys are here for. So there's 5 things that I'm gonna go over showing you how to do. First of all, I'm gonna show you how to register a hub site. I'm going to show you what you need to do to associate a site to a hub site. Then I'm going to show you the different customization options. So how you can really change the look and feel of a hub site to really match yours, like match your organization, match your branding, match your needs. I'll show you how to build common navigation. So building up that common navigation bar at the top. And then I'll go over the 2 distinct hub site web parts and really how they work, show you how to get those set up and everything. So let's head on over to that. there we go. All right, so as you can see right here, we're in the SharePoint Admin Center. The thing about creating a hub site is you need to be a SharePoint admin to do it. You do not need to be an admin to associate a site. You just need to have the permissions to do so. But in order to associate a site, you have to have admin access. So what you'll do is you'll get to the SharePoint Admin Center, and then you'll want to go to Sites, and you'll want to go to Active Sites. And here you will see all of your sites if they would show up. Yep, there they go. It's just taking a while to load. So basically right now what you're seeing is you're just seeing a bunch of different sites and everything. We'll go to date created. I created a couple sites beforehand just so I could show this off. So as you can see right here, we have hub site, site 1, site 2. We have not set this up as a hub site. So really quick, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go here. We're going to go to hub and we're going to register as a hub site. So as you can see, make this site into a hub site to connect related sites and give them a shared experience. You can change the name of the hub and everything. So that's important. And then you can also create a list of people who can associate sites with this hub. This is where you would give them permission to do so. So let's save that real quick. And it'll take a while. Let's give that time, and it is now a hub site, as you can see right here in this filter. As you can see in the column right here, it has that tag as a hub site. So let's head over there real quick. So this is a basic team site that I have converted into, it's either a team site or a communication site, one of the two. Yep, it's a communication site that I have converted into a hub site. So let's pull up the other communication site that I've created for this to show you that what it looks like when before and after you convert it into a hub site. So as you can see right here, you do have that common. So here it is. This is the common navigation bar right here. So that does not exist right here. So as you can see the navigation bar for the site, but it doesn't have this up here. That's going to be the major difference right there. Or at least the major visual distinguisher once you get that ported over. So really quick, here's how to associate a site with a hub site. So what we're going to do is we're going to click both of these, bulk edit, hub association. So basically you can select one site at a time, or you can select 2 sites at a time, and then you'll be able to choose from all of the hubs within your company. So as you can see right here, we have a couple. However, we're going to go with hub site because that's what we've created for the purpose of this. So it's updating the hub association with the 2 sites. And as you can see right here, it is now associated with the hub site. So let's head on over to these 2 sites real quick. So site 1, site 2, as you can see now, they both have the common navigation bar. Pretty simple. So this is a team site, this is a hub, this is a communication site. Both now have that common navigation. Now, here's how you can add to that common navigation. Just go to add link right here. So we'll grab this right here. Get away. Choose an option so you can have a link or a label. Grab a link. And then you can type display text. We'll go with site 1. And then we will add another for site 2 to make going back and forth between these pretty simple. And then we will go save. And let's go refresh these pages. As you can see right there, we now have common navigation at the top of both of the pages. This makes it really easy for you to go where you want to go from within the site. So basically, going back to that concept of flat navigation, once you get the common navigation essentially serves as that once you're existing in one of the other sites that are associated with the hub site. So going to site 1, if you set up your common navigation properly, why is that not showing up now? Yep, there we go. So if you have your common navigation bar set up properly, you could make it so that once you're in a single site, you never have to go back to that hub site. You can just navigate from site to site to site to site, depending on how you set up your common navigation bar. Now, the other thing is that you can also, going back to the hub site, set up dropdowns. So basically we'll go with edit, no. So make a sublink. So save that real quick. And now whenever, basically you can do drop downs. So if you have specific areas within a department, like say you're doing a breakdown by department and there's different areas that you want to, different sites that you want to access within that department or something, basically you can say, okay, so here's site 1, and then we want to go to site 2. Pretty simple. Let's promote that from a sublink to a main link. So that's pretty simple. I don't think there's really much that kind of needs to go into that. It's not that difficult, and you can really customize it how you want to go. So then taking a look at changing the look and feel. So let's go to change the look real quick. So you can change so right off the bat, you can change the theme, the header, the navigation, and the footer. So let's go with the theme. So currently we're on just a basic site theme. We'll go with a basic red. So changing that. And then we'll also change the header to be, we'll go, do we want to go, let's go compact. And then we'll go with that and change that. And now that we've changed that and everything, if we were to go to one of the other sites with it connected to this hub site, if it would load properly, it should be connecting the two together. It should have the same theme. One second. Navigation, let's do that. Tunnel visibility. Oh, nope, I remember what to do. So, yep, oh, nope, it just needed time to, 1 second. Let's go in here, change the look, theme. Your site is connected to the hub site theme is set to automatically adopt the same theme. Yes, it should be. So I'm not crazy. It should be adopting the same theme and everything. I think it's just taking time to set up. So we'll take a look back at that later. But they all should have the same theme and coloring right here. I don't understand why it's not taking, it's probably just taking time to load. I apologize for that. I should have tested that ahead of time. However, if other ways you can change the look real quick, you can also change the navigation. So you can set it as a cascading menus, or you can just have mega menus if you had that. Basically, if you were to have everything like right here, instead of having everything broken down by like you could get links out to everything. So, you know, there's the link and then there's the sublink and everything. It would just have everything listed at once. And then moving on to the actual web parts themselves. So basically, if we want to come in here to the news web part, so preparing your page for editing and everything. So right here with the news web part, this is the same and everything. However, if we go into edit web part, we can see that right now the hub site is only pulling news from the different sites and everything. However, if we select all sites within the hub and then go back, republish this, as you can see, I've already published different 2 different news posts on site 1 and site 2. So as you can see right here, this tells you what site it comes from, and then you can see the actual news post. You can click on it and head on over to there. And the same thing with the second one. So it's a really good way to provide people a kind of like a good starting point to tell people what's important and then provide them a way to get there. Now let's go here to edit. So let's grab this. No, yep, the highlighted content web part. Where is it grabbing from? No, this is the wrong web part. Let me go grab the actual web part. So grabbing highlighted content. And then right now, so when you create the, nope, I don't want to duplicate it. So when you create the highlighted content web part, and the news web part after creating the hub site, it'll automatically default to pulling from everything within the hub. So right here, see source. So you can choose a specific document library. You can do it from the whole site collection, the page library on the site, or just all sites in the hub. Generally default to this. Pretty simple, pretty easy, not a lot of fuss going on there. Now, like I said, this is really basic, not a lot of real, there's not a lot of time put into that, as you guys already saw. It's pretty simple. However, if we go to, for instance, like our intranet, because the thing about building hub sites and everything and planning those out is it takes time. So for instance, looking at our intranet, you can see right here, there's that common navigation bar. Everything's broken up. So you have it by department. So go to like accounting and finance. Let's see, bring that up. As you can see right here, has its own site. Everything's good. You want to go to find it. This is right here. As you can see, this is a mega menu. So basically so all of the different sub menus are listed out and everything. So kind of right here, if you want to know what's happening, so it can connect to different pages as well. So like the calendar page for this, but again, it's still that common navigation. And then also the theme is the same across all of the sites that you're going to within that, within that hub site and everything. So that is how you build hub sites and, kind of how you manage them. So let's switch back over to the PowerPoint. Like I said, it's pretty simple. It doesn't have to be that difficult to do. However, building anything really complicated and fancy is going to take you time. So tips for building hub sites. First of all, you want to create a plan. If you like, the thing is that how people navigate your hub site is incredibly important. And if they can't navigate your hub site, they're not going to use it, which can really hurt SharePoint adoption. Because the problem is that like, it doesn't matter if your tool is great and amazing and the content on each of your pages is perfect and wonderful. If people can't find it, if people can't get to it, if people don't know how to, if it's not intuitive to get around in, no one's going to use it. So that's why you need to plan out what you're doing. I highly recommend building out all of the different content first and then structuring your hub site around it. So structuring that common navigation, determining what parts you're going to use for that home page and everything. Those are really important. Second of all, optimize for search. So all of the content that you add to your site collection needs to be kind of not quite search engine optimized, but the way that Microsoft handles search within SharePoint is kind of similar to the way that like Google's algorithm handles search. So generally it'll pull based off of title and then it'll pull based off of content. And if you, however, the big difference is that if you have metadata set up within your SharePoint tenant and everything, you should, it'll also pull based off of that. So make sure that you are, that you're using proper titling, that you're setting up your content so that when you are using creating content and saving it within different SharePoint sites, you're focusing around different keywords, which kind of goes back to that optimization aspect. It'll pull based off of common words within that document. So if you're talking about like a safety and policy, like a safety and risk management plan, the more you use those terms, safety and risk management, the more likely it is to pull up that result in the search. However, this isn't as important. Like it's still important to do, but since you're only searching with hub sites and everything, since you're only searching within all of the sites associated with the hub, it's not as bad and you have a more focused search, but it's still important to do. Next part is also make it mobile friendly. With your navigation bar and everything, it should be easy to move between the different sites associated with the hub sites. Again, looking at metadata, make sure you're using metadata so that it's really easy to really port things around, move things around. And really just make sure the content that you're uploading to each of your sites works with mobile phones. Test that. As you know, people are like more and more on the go, although not as much with coronavirus and everything, but still there's some people who prefer to access SharePoint from their phones because it's easier, because you can just pull your phone out and go bop, 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 bop. Next up, you need to test your hub site. So make sure everything is structured properly. Make sure you don't have dead links. Make sure that when you are linking out to something, there is content there. Or, you know, don't have dead ends. It can be really easy to set something up in a way so that someone can end up, you know, end up at a dead end without being able to get back to where they were, and they can only navigate back to whatever is in that common navigation bar. So really make sure you're structuring that properly. And then finally, get feedback from users. You should be talking to all of the users in your SharePoint environment. You should be soliciting, you know, you should be asking them how they're using it, when they're using it, how easy it is to use, really just anything that you can glean to make the SharePoint experience, and especially the hub site experience, more intuitive for people. So yeah, and anything that can really just make it so that you can get the most out of your SharePoint experience. So with that said, I think we're at the Q&A portion. Hub sites aren't that difficult to use. They're pretty simple. They're basically just an organizational tool, and that help you organize your content in a way that makes it so that people can easily jump to it from wherever they are. So with that said, does anyone have any questions about hub sites? Feel free to either unmute yourselves or post in the chat. All right. I think that's everything. So if you have any additional questions, or if you were a bit nervous, feel free to reach out to us at info@mydoc365.com, or to me personally, qrussell@mydoc365.com. I'd love to answer any questions you may be having. Again, you will be getting a recording of this webinar after the fact. It'll be completely free. You should get it before 5 o'clock today. If you were interested in the intranet portal I briefly showed off today, or you have more questions about hub sites and SharePoint development and everything, feel free to reach out to us at 904-309-9970. How can you use this? So L Booker asks, how can you use this in a multilingual environment? I'm not entirely certain. However, if I go back to, so let me go back to the hub site real quick. So it should be under site information. No. Hub site settings. I don't know the definitive answer to this. However, I am going to try to take a few minutes to play around in here if you want to stick around. Let me think on this. So one way, so it I don't know if you can have, you should be able to have multiple languages within a SharePoint tenant. So off of the top of my head, the way that you'd probably want to do this is, so basically SharePoint Online is their websites. So based off of your sharing permissions and everything, if someone has access to a SharePoint, like multiple different SharePoint sites and everything, so if they have the internet, like if say you're doing French versus English, English is primary language, French, and then say you have Spanish, you could theoretically build sites within, so going to the settings and everything. Yeah, so go into the language settings, and what you would do is, yes. So advanced settings, aha. Okay, so the default settings, language settings for this. So basically you're limited, you're initially limited by the default language settings, which is English. You can choose options for using multiple languages on this site. So basically you can make it so that okay, so what it seems right now is that you can, there are actual translators and everything. So I will send over a more detailed answer to this later, but my best guess for doing this right now would be that you would have multiple sites that are in, the hub site doesn't change the language of the other sites that are connected to it. So the way that you would use this in a multilingual environment is probably that you would have you'd have the hub site and set it up so that there's the translated version of information, and then you would have the individual sites that are in the different languages. So you'd have your English site, your French site, your Spanish site, your German site, and everything, and they would feed back into that main page that people would be able to navigate to and fro from. However, that's my best guess based off of my knowledge and understanding. I will do my best to send you a detailed description of that. If no one else has any other questions, I think we're all good. I hope that everyone stays safe and has a great day. This has been Quentin with My Doc 365 presenting to you the last SharePoint Basics series of 2020 hub sites. I hope you all have a great rest of your year. Hopefully you show up for the next webinar. Thank you very much and have a great day.